Canelo Alvarez, the current face of boxing. Having already captured titles in 4 weight divisions, Alvarez would enter 2021 as the lineal, unified, super middleweight world champion. A year-long journey that would see the Mexican fighter conquer 2 of the division's title holders, he would now focus his attention to the remaining IBF title. Caleb "Sweet Hands" Plant, a tactical technician from Nashville, Tennessee, the reigning IBF champion, has no intention of relinquishing his newly acquired title. And with it being announced that they were to face off on the 6th of November 2021, it would see the winner being crowned, the first undisputed super middleweight champion of the 4-belt era. In this video, we go behind the scenes and take a look at this super middleweight showdown. This is the tale of Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. To understand the importance of this super middleweight showdown, we begin to understand both fighters and the brief journey they had both undertook to gain their titles. It was announced for the 19th of December 2020 that Canelo Alvarez would challenge the unified super middleweight champion, Callum Smith. Hailing from Liverpool, England, Smith would have an undefeated record of 27 victories and no defeats. A tall, rangy fighter, Smith's sharp counterpunching as well as his explosive power would be considered as a dangerous assignment for the Mexican fighter. Nevertheless, Canelo's history of taking high-risk and low-reward fights and emerging victorious within them fights has displayed his willingness to achieve the status of an all-time Mexican great. A highly anticipated encounter, not only Smith's WBA and Ring Magazine titles were on the line, the WBC super middleweight title had just become vacant. With the COVID pandemic restrictions, only 10,000 spectators were allowed to witness this unification bout inside the Alamodome Stadium at San Antonio, Texas. The bout would begin in a typical fashion, the champion using his height and reach advantage, throwing a variety of punches, effectively keeping Canelo at a distance.
Callum Smith needs to build confidence in this fight. That was a good jab by Callum Smith. He was able to land there.
Using a thudding jab, Canelo would maneuver his way on the inside, unleashing a heavy set of combinations on Callum Smith. Hesitant to throw any punches, Smith would be on the retreat as Canelo would continue to bludgeon him. A unanimous decision victory, Canelo Alvarez would capture the unified championship and announce his dominance within the division. It was announced for the 20th of January 2021 that Canelo Alvarez would make his first defense of his titles against his mandatory challenger, Avni Yildrim. Having a record of 21 victories and 2 defeats, the Turkish-born fighter is best known as the Mexican's longtime sparring partner. Handed a career-defining opportunity, Yildrim would look to topple the pound-for-pound king and become Turkey's first super middleweight world champion. In the case of Canelo Alvarez, already a global icon, he looks to display his dominance in destructive fashion.
Can he walk the walk? Does he really want it? And he's going to need that kind of determination tonight against the superiorly skilled Canelo Alvarez.
A quick start by Canelo would see him standing center ring, unleashing fiery combinations, not allowing the heavy-handed Yildrim to gain any momentum. Round 3 would see the champion land a jab, followed by a straight right hand, sending the Turk crashing to the canvas. With Yildrim retreating in a defensive posture, Canelo would continue to clobber the Turk, headed into the 4th round. With trainer Joel Diaz stopping the contest, Canelo Alvarez would successfully defend his titles in impressive fashion. Caleb Plant would enter 2018 with a perfect record of 17 victories and no defeats. Being a mandatory challenger for the IBF title, Plant was eagerly awaiting for a chance at the newly elevated champion Jose Uzcategui, known as a heavy hitter. Uzcategui's 28 victories have come by way of 23 knockouts. Having competed at a higher level, the Venezuelan fighter was picked to be a heavy favorite. Caleb Plant's technical style and in-ring defensive abilities would pose a dangerous threat to the newly crowned champion's reign. And with the bout originally scheduled to take place for August of 2018, it was postponed due to Caleb Plant suffering a broken hand. With need of surgery and rehabilitation, a bout between the two would seem uncertain. The champion in the meantime would opt to stay busy, making a voluntary defense against Ezekiel Moderna, winning by a unanimous decision. With Plant being cleared to compete, it was announced the two would finally square off for January the 13th in Los Angeles. Despite the American having not fought in 11 months, he was more than confident in illustrating his skill set.
No one's feet are faster than mine. No one's footwork is better than mine. No one's defense is better than mine. No one's IQ is better than mine. No one's hand speed is better than mine. Nobody.
A packed-out crowd in attendance was on hand to witness one of the biggest fights in perhaps the most exciting division. The fleet-footed Caleb Plant, displaying a wide range of technical artistry, and the power puncher brawler looking to defend his title. The bout would start with Plant on the back foot, keeping the champion at bay with a sharp jab. Displaying his defensive abilities early on, Plant was able to neutralize the champion's power. Despite the champion continuing to apply pressure, he would leave himself open to Plant's counter left hooks, which would see him touch the canvas twice. Suffering a cut above the right eye in the fourth round, Plant had opted to stand in the middle of the ring and trade punches with the champion. Countering effectively, Plant would establish a lead headed into the later rounds.
He can box, he can trade, he's got a wide repertoire. And the new IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the world, Caleb Sweethead.
A statement victory for Caleb Plant. He would announce his presence within the division in spectacular form. The newly crowned IBF champion, Caleb Plant would look to begin a dominant reign, starting with 2 successful title defenses against lesser-known opposition, ending with an impressive decision victory over the former world champion Caleb Truax. Caleb Plant had now etched his name amongst the division's elite and was now moving towards a title unification. In the case of Canelo Alvarez, currently in possession of the WBA and WBC super middleweight titles, he would now focus his attention towards the WBO championship, currently held by Billy Joe Saunders. Holding a perfect record of 30 victories and no defeats, the brazen champion was known for his highly elusive and counter-punching style. His biggest challenge would come in 2017 when he would take on his mandatory challenger David Lemieux. A former middleweight champion, Lemieux's highly aggressive style, thudding power and vicious knockouts would make it the Brits' toughest assignment to date.
He's an exciting fighter and a marketable fighter and a huge puncher.
Scheduled to take place in Lemieux's hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, it would see Saunders make his American debut and showcase his skills to a wider audience. A contrast of styles, it would see Billy Joe Saunders boxing on the back foot, keeping David Lemieux at a distance. Saunders would then begin to throw a variety of combination punches, keeping Lemieux bamboozled with his hand and foot speed. Having a height and reach disadvantage, David Lemieux was unable to close the distance effectively. With Lemieux's power neutralized, Billy Joe Saunders would continue to swarm him with combinations, dominating throughout the rounds. Saunders would defend his title in impressive fashion. 2 fights later would see Saunders capture the WBO title in the super middleweight division. And with a fight agreed between him and the unified champion Canelo Alvarez, the boxing world would finally see the two face off, 4 years after their proposed bout in 2017.
2 of the very best fighters in the world will step into the ring. One fighter considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best in the world. His opponent, a 2-time world champion considered by many to be the slickest master boxer on the planet today.
The pound-for-pound #1, the WBC, WBA and Ring Magazine champion Canelo Alvarez against the undefeated 2-weight world champion Billy Joe Saunders.
A record 73,000 spectators at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, would arrive to see the biggest boxing event since the COVID pandemic. A sense of calm before the storm, both Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders would display extreme confidence headed into their iconic 3-belt unification contest.
The reigning, defending, undefeated WBO super middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders. He's a 4-division, 5-time world champion, considered by many to be pound for pound the best in the world. So, Canelo.
Canelo would begin the bout in an aggressive manner, punishing Saunders with heavy blows early on. The middle rounds would see Saunders take control, landing a variety of combinations, keeping the Mexican's offense limited. Despite Saunders' success, Canelo would respond by throwing constant punches to Saunders' body, slowing down his movement. With the crowd passionately cheering on the Mexican fighter, he would continually beat down Saunders, leading to a vicious counter uppercut in the 7th round. Saunders' corner would stop the bout, citing a broken orbital bone, leading to a technical knockout victory for Canelo Alvarez. Capturing 3 of the division's titles, Canelo was en route to become the first super middleweight world champion. The final hurdle to Canelos' goal would come in the form of Caleb Plant. Spending a lifelong journey to achieve his dreams of being a world champion, the Nashville-born fighter was in no hurry to surrender his newly gained status.
Just my life's journey. I don't fold, break, or bend for anybody.
With the fight negotiated to take place in September of 2021, it was suddenly called off as there were disagreements within the contracts. With Canelo being a free agent, Plant was signed exclusively to fight under the PBC promotional banner. And for Canelo to ensure the undisputed clash would take place, he would sign a one-fight deal with the company. It was reported on August the 19th that both fighters had agreed to the terms, and the fight would take place in November of 2021.
First undisputed super middleweight of all time, and you're looking at him. His name is Caleb Plant.
It's champion versus champion with Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. IBF super middleweight champion of the world, sweet hands, Caleb Plant. Current unified super middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Going through months of negotiations, tensions would build between the two champions, leading to an unexpected brawl at their first face-off. With Plant suffering a post-brawl cut, it would luckily have no impact on the fight date.
If you want bad blood in this matchup, you got it. You also have an incredible style contrast.
I don't need you guys to believe in me. A lot of you live believable lives, and you've accomplished believable things. I set out to live an unbelievable life and accomplish unbelievable things.
Caleb Plant took home a souvenir from that press conference. You can see the marking underneath, of course, his right eye. That's all finished business for them. The unfinished business is what happens in the ring.
Boxing benefits when there is only one champion in each division. In the 37-year history of the 168-pound weight class, there has never been an undisputed ruler.
One of the most significant fights of the year. You want the best fighting the best. A marquee matchup of two of the very best fighters at 168 pounds.
For Caleb Plant, handed a career-defining opportunity, he looks to silence the disbelievers by dismantling the division's most dominant champion. For Canelo Alvarez, already an icon within his native country, his hunger and determination has led him to become the sport's biggest attraction. And having conquered two of the division's champions and styles with relative ease, he looks to silence Plant's ambitions and strip him of his prized possession. They say when a warrior enters battle, he hates not what stands in front of him, but rather he loves what stands behind him. Such is the case for both Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. Driven by those who are dearest to them, both will finally get the chance to achieve what they spent a lifetime chasing. A sold-out crowd of over 16,000 spectators in attendance were eagerly awaiting the most anticipated bout of 2021. With Canelo notoriously known to be a slow starter, Plant would begin the bout in swift fashion. Using a constant stinging-like jab, he'd keep the Mexican fighter on the back foot, comfortably boxing his way through the rounds. The middle rounds would see Canelo Alvarez apply a vast amount of pressure, trapping Plant on the ropes, beating him down with a variety of combination punches. Despite Canelo's continuous pressure, Plant would still maintain his defensive posture, making the Mexican fall short of his punches, countering him in between his flurries. A high-paced battle, it would see both Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant have success with their game plans.
He certainly proved he is a very real fighter in the super middleweight division. Alvarez coming on strong though in the latter stages.
A left hook in the 11th round would send Plant stumbling backwards, followed by a two-punch combination. It would see Plant sent to the canvas for the first time in his career.
It's the left hook and he's got him again. He's looking to take him out right now, Alvarez. Plant has to find a way to hold on. Down he goes for the second time. The fight's all over.
Viva Mexico's first undisputed champion!
A spectacular 11th round knockout, Canelo Alvarez would finally achieve the goal of being the first undisputed champion in boxing's history.